What is going on, everybody? How's your day going? Is the source material here, and today we're going to be talking about a new manga that's pretty special. Not only is it not Japanese, but it's also the first manga to receive the Gold Awards from Manga Plus, which gave the creator Rafael Jackie and Machine Gamu the opportunity to have their manga sterilized by Shonen Jump Plus. And this manga is called No Name. In this manga, people gain abilities depending on the name they are given at birth, and these names are managed and designated by a subgroup of the government known as the Nordic Naming Bureau. Now, with that information aside, let's talk about chapter 1 of this manga. Manga starts off with a pregnant woman being rushed into a hospital on a stretcher. Her and her husband argue on what name to give the baby, which seems like a really stupid thing to argue about when your wife's in labor, but they argue nonetheless. But eventually, they are cut off when she's wheeled into the operating room. Her husband paces up and down the waiting room until he's approached by a man from the Nordic Naming Bureau. The husband tries to explain to the agent that his wife wants to name the child, but the agent firmly tells him no, that his son will have a good life as a farmer, because he will be named Jorn, granting him the abilities of a, well, farmer. We cut off the two people ringing the doorbell. They are answered rudely by a middle aged man. They explain that they're agents working for the Nordic Naming Bureau and are immediately let inside. The man questions the presence of the agents at his home, suggesting that they should be hunting down the namers instead, which I assume is a term used for people who name their children without the approval of the Bureau. Well, the agents are there because the owner of the house complained that there weren't enough people searching for his missing wife, Kara, which means wild or stormy one, and his son. The agents question the man, whose name is revealed to be Bodil, which means human commander, about his wife and son. He states that his son hasn't attached to his name yet. He talks about him and his wife. He states that during the pregnancy, which eventually resulted in the birth of his son, his wife's behavior began to change. She had violent outbursts of power and even considered aborting the child at some point. They seem to have worked it out, but sometime after the birth of the child, she disappeared along with her newborn son. Boldel explains that he has gotten permission to name his son Boldel as well, and that he hopes he'll continue his legacy as a motivational speaker. To which the user Ursa, or Bear, asks the question that has been plaguing me since the start of this chapter, which is, if his wife truly loved him, why would she run away? A very pissed off Brodel proceeds to use his name power with the agents, ordering them to find his son. The two agents leave the building and don't even realize they're being controlled until they were outside of the house. They spend the next couple of pages tracking down Kara and her son until they arrive at the house. Ralph then proceeds to pull out a muzzle and concentrates. A puff of smoke bursts out from it and takes the shape of a huge wolf. Ralph then gets on the back of this wolf and it propels them both over the fence and onto the other side. Once both him and Ursa are in, they begin to search for the missing suspects. Until they bump into Kara's mother, Vika, whose name means fortress, who then proceeds to manifest bricks out of thin air and forms an actual tower surrounding herself. He orders the agents to stop, to which Ursa responds by flicking her shoe at her and turning into a 7 foot tall bear. After a short conversation and a brief period of intimidation, Vivka shows the agents where her daughter is. Upon arriving at Kara's hideout, they are greeted with a double barrel shotgun and a very pissed off mom. While her mom goes inside to check on the baby, Kara and the agents square off. She asks to know what Ralph's powers are, which he explains that he can summon two wolves, Etz, and what I presume is pronounced as Za. Etz has the power to heal, and Za has the power to protect him at all costs, but he won't attack. Also, don't forget to remember that Ralph's name literally means Wolf Commander. With that out of the way, she begins to explain why she ran away. Apparently, she never wanted to have children, but Boulder used his name powers on her. He forced her to get pregnant and controlled her every action. He even told her that he would name their child Boulder. She couldn't bear to let her child turn out like him. So, at the risk of being hunted down by the police, she took her child and fled. Ralph tries to convince her that they should go back with him and that he will get Boulder prosecuted and that her and her baby will be safe, but she wouldn't hear it. She pulls out the gun and shoots at Ralph. Zah jumps in the way of the bullets, while Ralph throws an axe at her, which is picked up by a new wolf and used to rip into Kara's leg. So I can assume that Ralph can summon more than two wolves, and this third one can actually attack. But the pain seems to have woken up her name power. She yells out in pain as she grows, her arm and legs enlarging, and her hair is filled with streaks of black. She then proceeds to pick up one of Ralph's wolves by the tail and yeets it at Ursa with enough force to knock her down. Bear in mind, Ursa is the size of a giant truck right now. He charges down at Ralph, and in a fit of desperation, Ursa pulls out a gun and shoots her. She seems to be visibly shaken by this, but Ralph calms her down. He apprehends Vivka, who's trying to escape with the baby, and they head back to the Nordic Naming Bureau. A couple of days passes, and Ralph and Ursa are visited by the agency. It's Vivka. She's furious. She screams at the agent for killing her daughter and putting her grandson in Bodo's hands, the hands of that monster. Ralph is shocked by the news. He made sure that Bodo would face the charges for his crimes and lose custody of the child. He wants to speak to his boss, but as he does, he knocks over a file containing information about a new case. Two pictures of a dead woman and the words "no name" in black marker. That, my adoring fans, is the first issue of No Name. I don't really know what I think of the manga just yet. It seems like it's leaning more towards the mystery aspect instead of your average battle shonen, and I love that. But with so few chapters out, I can't make a concrete decision whether I'm going to continue reading this manga or not. As of the time of this recording, there are currently 3 chapters of No Name out so far. So, I don't know. I left to see them touch more on the power system and what exactly causes people's names to manifest powers. Does everybody with the name Ralph have 3 wolves? Or can they turn into wolves sort of like Ursa? If you want me to cover the next chapter of No Name and other subsequent chapters, 30 likes. Well, until then, this is the source material signing out.